Horror Coast to Coast is a movie review podcast featuring strong language, horror film spoilers, and discussions of violence, gore, and disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Holiday Coast to Coast, where we review Christmas movies from opposite sides of the continental U.S. From the Massachusetts wilderness with zero supplies, I'm Brian.
And getting my elf ears carved with a pair of scissors. From California, I'm Michelle.
This week we're talking about the Christmas tapes from 2022.
The Christmas tapes. In this holiday horror anthology, a family's movie night is interrupted by a stranger who is insistent on making his own Christmas classic film.
So this movie is by Robert Livings and Randy Nundahl Jr., who are apparently known as Wolfcat Films.
Oh.
And other than their website, there's very little internet presence. And there's no Wikipedia page for this, and no one has it listed on their Wikipedia filmography.
Yeah. The only place I found information was there's a Reddit thread, and there's a little bit on the IMDb page. But aside from that, if you try to Google it, the cast comes up and you can kind of look at who they are. But yeah, it's kind of a weird, very little known story. It opens with a family having their Christmas Eve's traditions, and I guess the daughter is filming it all.
Yeah. So they're opening their Christmas Eve present. They all get one. And they're interrupted by a ring at the doorbell. And Greg Sestero of The Room fame is at the door holding a giant present.
Yeah.
He says his car broke down and his phone's not working.
Yeah. And the way these people invite this man into their home, and also the way this movie pretends like no one has heard of Home Alone, is kind of weird. They're two separate references.
Well, I think isn't it just the dad?
No, well, at first,
Is
the
someone
dad
else?
is like, the movie with the blonde kid who kind of gets the best of those burglars. And then later on, they're like, oh, we were thinking about Home Alone, that movie. And then Jeff, who's Greg Sestero's character, is like, oh, no. And they're like, the movie with that kid. I'm like, why is everyone pretending they've not heard of Home Alone? That's very weird.
Well, I took the second one as being Jeff only watches snuff films.
Okay. That could be true. I also kind of assumed that he was bullshitting them anyway, so I didn't take too much about it.
Yeah, battery's fucking with them.
Yeah, I didn't think too much about that. But at first I was like, that's the second Home Alone reference that people in this movie have pretended to not understand, which I was like, okay, I guess in this universe, Home Alone is just a little, Home Alone is the film that no one knows about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was weird. And the way they just invite this man into their home is weird because they say it on their face, like on its face, they do it because it's Christmas and his car's, whatever, he needs help with his car, he needs to use their phone, all the typical excuses. But the feel is just so off that them inviting him to stay is like very weird, especially since it's like the kid that's like, no, you should stay. I'm like, hey, fuck if my 15-year-old is going to invite strangers into my house and I'm just going to be like, sure. I don't know. The family was weird to begin with.
Yeah, they think they're in a very different Christmas movie.
Yeah. Also, I wrote, what's in the box, like 6 times.
Yeah, that's the other thing is they don't question like, okay, your car broke down. Why do you have this box?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you leave that in your car?
And finally someone says, what's in the box? And he's like, oh, it's a surprise. I'm like, no, the fuck, it's not. Get out. We are not playing Kevin Spacey and Brad Pitt in the desert. You are not coming into my house with that shit.
Yeah. So we're from the point of view of the teenage daughter. She's the one filming, and she goes to the bathroom, And when she comes out, Jeff is waving a gun around.
Yeah. Like, it progresses quickly and it's very weird. And then we find out right away that this becomes a framed story, much like the VHS movies. And Greg Sestero is uh, holding this gun around in waving this gun around in the strangest ways. But he forces this family to watch all these movies that he has in the box.
Yeah, so basically this movie is like, wow, they did a VHS Halloween. They should do a VHS Christmas. And then mom says, we have VHS Christmas at home.
Yeah, basically. That's very funny. Yeah, I don't know. I was like not impressed from the beginning because of the quality of the acting. And they did this thing where the characters all kind of talked over one another, but it wasn't well timed. So it didn't feel like it was scripted talking over one another. It felt like it was bad improv. So I was just like, okay, something needs to click in this movie because I'm not sure if I can watch this whole thing if it's all going to be like this. And I will say it wasn't all like that, but immediately that's what I noticed, that the timing of the delivery of their lines was just off. They were just not like, they weren't convincing, they weren't good actors, they weren't good improv actors if that's what they were doing. I just something about this was like I don't get it right away. Even though I knew what was going on.
Yeah. So he makes them all sit down on the couch and he thinks they don't appreciate movies. So he's going to show them some great Christmas movies.
Yeah,
And his first tape is Travel Buggies.
right. So then it cuts to these two characters, Jess and Dave, who you can't quite tell what they're doing, but then it turns out they run a I don't know, they have a YouTube channel where they film themselves traveling around and I don't know, looking at interesting places or something. Um, and before they do that, they talk about this Hans Trapp character, which I was like, okay, this is clearly going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, this is clearly our setup
Yeah.
because they show us the scarecrow and it's a very obvious Halloween mask
Hmm.
making up the face. Like, this is not an actual scarecrow by any means.
Yeah. And Jess talks about some thing that the kids used to say, or the parents used to tell their kids. I actually didn't really catch how that story goes, but I caught them reciting something and I was like, please stop that immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, there's a legend that the scarecrow comes alive and eats people. As you know, you've seen in many different horror movies and things. Scarecrows love coming alive and eating people.
Right. But there's like a poem that gets recited and it has to do with like kids going to bed or something. And it's like, if you don't go to sleep, the scarecrow will come like chew your leg off or something like that. And she recites it. And I don't know. Like I said, I briefly missed this part, but it sounded like because she's Australian or New Zealand or something, or from New Zealand or something, and Dave at the very least is American or Canadian, I can't tell. And so she tells him of this tradition that I assume is from her country. But anyway, the scarecrow they find is creepy enough to clearly be a setup.
Yeah. And then they go to Donner Pass Tunnel.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you where they are. So it seems like they have a YouTube channel basically based off of things like lore and spooky stories, would be my assumption, since they're doing Donner Pass and a scarecrow that eats people.
Yeah. So this is kind of where I was like, I'm over this. I hate these people. Because first of all, I just feel like no one is going to explore Donner Pass during the winter, literally where and when the Donner Party died. And I just felt like I don't know why you're doing this. It's not enough of a hook to say, isn't this interesting? Or this could be haunted. It just felt like it just wasn't well planned out and it just wasn't engaging enough for me. I also really hated the way she delivers those stories about the Donner Party coming across the Donner Pass and resorting to cannibalism because they're freezing to death, or the Chinese tunnel workers who were forced to dig those tunnels under terrible conditions and then died. And she's like, and so clearly it's haunted. But she says it like so cavalierly, like it's not a big deal and it's just a sort of entertainment to us. I just felt that came across like so just like inappropriate and almost kind of trashy.
Yeah, but that's often how these things go, both in like this kind of YouTube channel and like ghost stores. They're very
It's
frivolous about actual people who died.
Yeah, and like not even exploitative. I would say exploitative, but it's not even used well. So I just felt like, ugh, I don't know. I didn't like her. And plus she's an idiot. He's basically like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're here. It's Christmas." And I assume that they're like YouTube partners, but they're also romantic partners. And he's like, "Well,
Yeah.
it's Christmas. Why don't we just not film?" Which I think is actually a pretty reasonable ask, even though he didn't bring it up at the first place and maybe she's thrown. But he's like, "Look, we only have a couple hundred subscribers. It's Christmas. Let's take a break. Let's not do this. I'm really not that into it." And she's like pushing back. And he's like, also, who are we doing this for? The majority of our subscribers are probably bots. And she's like, they're not bots. And it's like, how do you don't know that actually, unless you are really looking into it and interacting with all these people. You don't know they're not bots. Calm down. Like, listen to one thing he has to say. I don't know. I just got fed up with her pretty quickly.
He also points out that neither of them are campers and she's done like zero prep and she's basically just like, yeah, we'll figure it out. It'll be an
Yeah.
adventure.
Which is so crazy because one, they get to the point where he doesn't understand how to start fire in the snow, which is stupid. You can start a fire in the snow. It's a thing. People do it all the
Oh my
time.
God, that made me
It
so
made me
mad.
really
And
mad.
he gaslights her out of even
Yeah.
trying.
And he's like, well, everything's
He's just
wet, blah,
like,
blah, blah, blah.
he's like, there's snow on the ground. Meanwhile, you can see the grass coming up because it's only like an inch of snow.
Yeah. So the
And he's like, so there's a little bit of snow on the ground. We can't have a fire, so they don't try.
the few ice fishing experiences in me was screaming at them. Like, you can clearly start a fire in the snow. It's not that big of a deal. However, the thing that they did do, well, maybe not, they didn't do wrong. They did no prep at all. The thing that really did present the issue is that Donner Pass, I believe, is in a national forest. And you can't gather wood in a national forest. So if they didn't bring any wood in their truck, they really were screwed. Like, they couldn't have just gone around collecting wood. I mean, I guess they could have if worse came to worse and it was like a survival situation. But you're not supposed to gather or collect wood in national forests. And so I was like, yeah, you guys really did no prep and know nothing about the situation you're in. And you picked a location where people literally died from being unprepared. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, maybe have your first foray into camping be during the summer.
Yeah. And then they get even more obnoxious.
Yeah, so they can't try to start a fire for reasons, so they're gonna have to cook dinner on a little camp stove. And he like belittles her more, like, we can't cook on that, it's for cooking water. It's like, just, I guess they have steak, just cut the steak into small enough pieces to cook in the little pot.
And
Like, it'll work.
why did you bring steak camping? Like, you bougie fucks. Like,
Yeah,
you should have just brought a can of beans. What the hell's wrong with you?
yeah.
But yeah, then they go to bed and they're like, okay, good night. We'll wake up in the morning.
And then we get like the boyfriend picks up the camera. He wakes up and he has these like stupid Christmas glasses on. And he's like, he wakes her up and like apologizes to her, but in a really like condescending way. And it's like, you forgive me. These characters are the worst.
They were very obnoxious. And then I don't remember why, but apparently she hears something outside. And I guess that's why she opens the tent.
Yeah.
But it's weird because she gets up and turns the light on and he's automatically like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Turn the light off. And it's like, you guys have clearly not been camping, because someone gets up in the middle of the night, they turn the light on, you just assume they're going to the bathroom, you turn over, you cover your sleep, you put your sleeping bag over your head, and you go back to sleep. Like, you don't make a huge deal about the fact that the light is on. Like, calm the fuck down. But then she looks outside and says that she sees something, and he completely disregards her and is like, you're wrong, go back to bed, blah, blah, blah. But again, this is like a lack of camping experience, right? Because nobody does this. Nobody just automatically doubts the person that says they saw something in the woods, because the woods can be really fucking scary. And if they think they saw a person, even if they didn't, it could have been an animal. And at that point, you should at least, even if you're not going to like go investigate it, you should at least be on alert, because there could be like a bear or something. And you're probably not prepared for that either. I just felt like, wait, I don't understand. Like, he's just really not listening, and there's no logic here whatsoever. Like, common sense was not a thing here.
Yeah. So he becomes convinced when he like hears the supposed person moving outside, and he's like, "Who the fuck's there? Tell me who you are." And she is pissed that he did that.
But then she refuses to turn the light off.
Oh yeah. And then it's like shaking the tent, and they frantically unzip it and go running, but it captures them.
Yeah.
And drags them. And they're apparently still holding this camcorder while they're being dragged by the scarecrow.
Yeah, she's holding the camcorder. He pushes her and is like, run, run, don't look back. At that point, I'm like, I don't care. Hurry up and die. You are literally running with no direction in the middle of the forest that's covered in snow. I mean, I guess you could technically backtrack through your footprints, but that just felt like such a huge risk. And he's like, go towards the car. How did she know where the car is? She's freaking out. I had no patience for them. They were just so stupid.
Yeah, so it's dragging her by the foot. We see, like, from the first person perspective, its hand on her foot, and then it stops, and then we hear, like, crunching and gross noises off screen. And I feel like this is when it's gonna end, but then, of course, they have to show you that it's the scarecrow, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's very clearly just like a guy in a flannel with like straw stuffed in there wearing that mask.
Yeah.
And it looks nothing like the scarecrow from earlier, which had like no arms and was an actual scarecrow. And there's no like effort to make it look like anything other than a guy in a Halloween costume.
Yeah, it actually looked like, because it was filmed in it wasn't like black and white. It was that footage, what's it called? The night vision kind of.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was wearing a stocking over his face, and they had taken something and drawn on the like scars on his eyes and his scars over his nose and his mouth. Like, it looked like he had something stretched over his face, not necessarily a mask, but either way, I don't know. I wasn't very impressed.
But then he's like, we see him like chewing this spirit Halloween looking Halloween hand, and then he like throws it, and there's no bite taken out of it, and then he like hacks away at Jess.
Yeah.
And I really think it would have been better if he just didn't appear on screen. It looks so cheesy when he's
Agree.
eating that hand.
Agree.
He's clearly not eating it.
Yeah. There's a part where he hits her and she falls, and I think that's where it should have ended. That would have been so much better.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's over. And then we go back to the Frame story where Jeff is like, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, so Dad said, he asked him how it was, and Dad said it was fucking terrifying. And then the son's like, it fucking sucked.
It was horrible. At this point, I'm like, okay, I don't understand this family at all. They're like, I don't know, fake crying or something. It was just something that's so off about them. And of course, in response to them being difficult, Jeff says, I used to do kickboxing. Don't make me use it. Which I was like, if you're going to say things like that, this has to be advertised as a little bit more of a comedy. I think that if there was any advertising, but I'm like, I'm happy about random lines like that.
I did see it on one thing listed as a comedy, but I don't know how much comedy was intentional in this.
Yeah, agree. So we get to the next tape.
Yeah, so tape number 2 is the Christmas gift. We
Yeah.
got a dad who said his YouTube addicted kids only pay attention to YouTube, so he's gonna make them an unboxing video by shipping himself to their doorstep in a big box.
There was so much suspending your disbelief required to absorb this because
Yeah,
I had the very obvious question right from the start. He contacts somebody on the internet and says,
yeah,
"Nobody else will do this, and this is the only person I could get to do this." Why doesn't he just ask somebody that he knows? This is such a weird thing to begin with, and then he's going on the internet? Like, he's he's
yeah.
paying a stranger to lock him up in a box and deliver him to his house. Like, what in the Meister Burger is going on? I'm so
Yeah,
fucking
just drive to their house with a big cardboard box, get in the
get in the
box,
box
or
and
ring
then
the
ring your
doorbell,
own
get in the
doorbell.
box real quick.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so the person he calls shows up and everyone can see that he's avoiding giving any information about his identity. I mean, he says,
Yeah,
"Where
so
are you
he's like,
from?" "My
"Who are you?"
mother."
"I'm Santa."
"Where are you
But
from?"
he also said he found this guy from, like, Facebook Marketplace. Was his name just Santa on Facebook?
"Oh, I don't know." I mean, it must have been, like, his post where he was, like, looking for somebody to do this, and then that person responded. So maybe, I don't know, his username could have been Santa, who knows? But I like when he's like, "Where are you from?" It's like, "My mother," and he's just clearly not he's not consenting to giving his identity. Also, this guy's filming, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have a camera on." I don't know, the whole thing just felt like, this is just a bad idea. And then it
Yeah.
goes wrong immediately. Like, this just was stupid.
I think it went wrong from conception.
Yes. Also, he doesn't bring a cell phone. Like, what?
Yeah. And something weird about this whole movie is all of these are on VHS, but absolutely none of these stories take place in an era where VHS was a thing.
Yeah, see, I yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess it could have been rendered to VHS. But it did look like those were the original recordings, right? Because 'Cause they're scribbled on the side of the tapes.
Except the end of so this is all filmed by the dad, and then the end is Ring camera footage. So I guess Jeff must be compiling these and then converting them to VHS.
Yeah. Yeah, he must be. Yeah, I don't get I his this whole the whole idea behind this really was a miss for me.
Yeah, so they get driving, and Santa's like, "Do you mind if we go pick up Mrs. Claus? We were gonna deliver presents to the underprivileged children afterwards." And he's like, "Oh, of course."
Yeah. So of course they drive a little bit. They get to a nice house and the lady comes out dressed as Mrs. Claus and they kiss. They're obviously some couple of some sort and he's like, "Oh my goodness. Look at her committing to the part." And Santa's like, "Oh, this lovely man is going to get in the box in the back of our truck." And she's like, "Oh, really?" And I just felt at that point I would have been like, "Never mind. Here's your money. Bye."
Yeah, so the plan was originally to get into the box, like, a block away or whatever, but since it's a two-seater, he's getting in early, and they gotta convince him, but he goes for it for some reason, and for some reason, they also need to secure the lid on early.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if I ask an internet stranger to do anything for me and they change the plan, even in the slightest, and the change is coming from them, I'm bailing.
Well, you should bail the second he's like, "I'm Santa from my mother."
Okay, sure, fair. But yeah, so then he realizes right away, oh my God, they're not driving to my house.
Yeah, he's like, "Ah, you missed the turn." And then they start driving like recklessly and he's bumping all over the place. And then he comes to in like a basement.
Right. But before that happens, we have the privilege of seeing him panic for 2 straight minutes. And I was like, I don't want to watch this. This is so uncomfortable. And he's just panicking. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. If this person is trying to like get some acting credits in or something, that this was a lot. And also, this is of your own making, you fucking idiot. And why
Yeah.
don't you have a cell phone? Oh, it was just terrible. But yeah, they get he awakes in a basement, and this is another part where I had problems with the timing of the lines because Mrs. Claus kept talking over Santa. The delivery of most of the lines in the scene was awful. The timing was so terrible. It was so awkward. I thought this was like not not at all good, not well done at all.
Yeah. So Santa earlier said, "Oh, Mrs. Claus, she's real good with the videos." But I do feel like it's pretty much just her that she's like all over the place in this scene. I feel like the guy who plays Santa is doing a great job, but she's like, I don't know, she missed rehearsals or something because she's just like frantically like trying to find her lines and when to say them.
Yeah. I guess if I think about it, it really was just her. And it did sound like he was trying to recover a little bit. But
Yeah.
again, I can't tell, is this improv or is this scripted? Because if it's scripted, just reshoot the fucking scene. Don't leave it in this way. But maybe it's improv and maybe they didn't want to shoot it again, or maybe she was having trouble delivering the lines to begin with. I don't know.
I mean, this could be the
But
best
yeah,
take they got. They might have had other
maybe.
takes.
Yeah, maybe. So then they reveal exactly why he's down there. And I didn't quite get the story, but
So basically, Santa was a delivery driver, and what was it he delivered? He delivered something specifically. Advent calendars? Was it advent calendars?
yes, it was
Okay, yeah.
advent calendars.
So he delivered advent calendars, and then one time someone said they didn't get it, and he said he knows he always delivered it, so he got fired. And that
Right.
guy was Dean, the dad.
So that is established for sure because I did not understand that story. And I didn't understand if Dean made the connection that, oh, I'm the one who got him fired. I really didn't. That wasn't clear to me. That was kind of like, okay, here's a random story. You're giving no names. You're not saying anything, but you know him. And he calls him by his first name eventually. So does the woman.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's an implication that Dean somehow ruined this man's life. But then he doesn't want money, which is like, so how did he ruin your life if he didn't make it so that you have a hard time finding work or something, I guess? I would want, wouldn't you want his money? Wouldn't you be like, I want all of your money. I want all of your livelihood because you took mine.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it had very little to do with that situation, and he just got fired because he's an unhinged psychopath, but this is the story he's constructed.
Yeah. And then he is married or partnered with an unhinged psychopath as well. But the okay, so their little like fantasy world is that he's there to play a game with them.
Yeah, so this is their game show, he's the contestant, and they've set up basically an advent calendar with 12 boxes, and he has to pick boxes.
Yeah. Except they don't really let him pick, but they tell him he's picking. Because the first one,
Well,
she's like, "Ooh, pick 11." And he's like, "I guess."
no, he didn't have to, she's like, "I would pick 11," and
Yeah,
if it was me, I'd be like, "Okay, 3 then."
agree. But yeah, he picks 11. And it is really fucking weird.
Yeah, he gets a foot rub from Mrs. Claus. Yay.
Um, yeah, the foot rubbing. Look, I am not down on somebody's fetish. I am not. at all saying that in and of itself is what's weird here. What's weird here is that if she wanted to rub somebody's feet, she could have just found somebody on Craigslist or Facebook or whatever who wanted to have their feet rubbed. This is just weird. And
Yeah.
like, they're bordering on sexually assaulting him at this point. And like,
I
I don't understand it.
I feel like that's the point.
I get it, but I don't know where that element came from. It felt like it was out of nowhere.
Well,
And it
these
was
people
just
are
so
clearly just
strange.
psychopaths.
Yeah, I
This is
guess so.
part of the revenge is low-key sexually assaulting him.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was so awkward, and she was moaning, and they were asking him to be more into it.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
god,
that
it
was
was
weird.
disgusting.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, he goes with box number 4. And this one's like hear the sleigh bells ringing, and that means he gets to choose. He can either have his ears cut into elf ears or have one ear entirely cut off. And he doesn't make a choice.
Yeah, he doesn't make a choice, and I'm not sure what happened. I know a piece of his ear gets cut off, but I'm not sure if that was, "Okay, if you don't choose, I'm just gonna give you one elf ear."
I think that was supposed to be his whole ear.
Okay.
But yeah, this is such an easy choice and he just refuses to make it.
Yeah,
And people pay for elf ears.
that's true. But I mean, with scissors?
I mean, yeah, obviously it sucks, but it's probably fixable. And I don't think
That's true.
if you survived, I don't think this guy's gonna let you keep your ear.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets his ear cut off, and then we move on to the last box. He can only choose 1 through 3.
And they essentially tell him one of them is his passage home, and then he picks I don't remember what he picks. If he picks
Number
3?
3.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he picks 3, and they're like, "This is it. This is your passage home."
Yeah. So they open it up and it's a Christmas cracker. So they both walk over and put it in his mouth. And then they pull it and we get the shittiest special effect I've probably ever seen in a movie. This is like a skit from one of those like college humor videos on YouTube. His head just blows up, it pops. It's like a probably a preset plugin in like Adobe
I was
After
gonna
Effects.
say, yeah, like a balloon pre-filled with blood and then overlaid with other things they want to look like.
Yeah, it's real cheesy. So he gets his head blown off, just pops, and then they put him in his destination in front of his kid's house and ring the doorbell.
But
The end.
they deliver him 4 days before Christmas. So I was a little confused at what this whole thing was supposed to be. I thought it was a Christmas gift. I thought it was like, so surprised to unbox your dad at Christmas, but they deliver him on December 21st. So was he just gonna sit in his driveway in a box for 4 days?
Yeah, I
Not sure he planned this out.
guess it's more fun if he's rotting.
Guess so. Anyway, so we get back to the framed story, and for some reason Jeff thinks that was so romantic and he wants the mom and the dad to kiss. And the way this mom and dad did not want to kiss each other was kind of comical. I mean,
Yeah,
the woman is like bawling her eyes out to have to kiss this man.
yeah. Why is this the one thing they desperately push back against?
Yeah, I don't know. And they don't even move all that far from their son's face.
Yeah,
It's just so bizarre. So
it's
bizarre.
so weird.
Yeah. So then we move to the next story, which is called Untitled.
Yeah, so Dominic, who's 28, is looking for love. So he's joined some kind of mysterious program, but that program is not legitimate. So he wakes up with a chip in his head and it says that he has 15 minutes to deliver a gift or he'll die. And also, he'll see some hallucinations. Don't worry about those.
Yeah. So the trooper he works through it. He sees some hallucinations. He forgets, like he's missing some time. And that's one of the things that voice on the chip says at the beginning, that, our technology isn't perfected. So you might see hallucinations and you might lose some time. And he loses time. He loses a chunk of time. But he pushes through. He finds that hotel and he's about to deliver the package.
Yeah, so in every corner he's been seeing these guys in black suits, and he gets to the hotel door and there's one behind him and one in front of him. And then he wakes up. He's not in front of the door of the client. He's in front of a hotel with like 3 seconds.
Clock counts down and kaboom!
So this whole thing was shorter than a punk song.
Yeah. And in between the shots of him the first person footage of him trying to deliver this box was clips of him doing his what are those things even called? Like the
Like a dating
self-intro
video?
videos. Yeah, like a dating video of himself. And it was interspersed. So I didn't even realize that was him, that he's the main character. I thought it was just this footage of a person's dating video, and then taped over that is this footage of a random guy who wakes up with no memory and a chip in his head. I didn't realize the two were supposed to be the same person.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, is that supposed to be like he's hallucinating his own dating video, or is this like, did Jeff edit this together?
Yeah, or maybe he submits his video, and then once he's put in the program, they just record his experience over his own video or something.
Yeah, so did they like
Um,
record his, I guess they recorded his brain with like a neurochip? Is that the footage we're seeing?
something like that. And you know what? I will say that of everything, all of the tapes and the short stories in this movie, this is the one I think harkens the most to VHS and is the
Yes.
most well done, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost there.
It's not quite, but I think it is the one that gets the closest. Um, that kind of storyline feels very VHS. It is also the one that I found the most interesting. I mean, who's not interested in waking up with no memory and a chip installed in your head? It just feels like, ooh, where is this going to go? Kind of bummed that he died because I was like rooting for him in that 15-minute interval. But yeah, so that one is over pretty quickly. And then we go back to the framed story. And I don't know why, but Jeff insists on feeding the dad a chocolate chip cookie. And the way the dad nibbled on that cookie like a toddler was so strange.
Yeah, and then he's like, chew that 29 times. I was like, is it
Yeah.
poisoned? Is this gonna turn into something? No, just make sure to eat that cookie and chew it 29 times.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to chew your food, chew each bite 26 times or
Yeah,
whatever.
is that a thing? I was wondering that.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Oh,
a thing.
okay.
It's a real thing.
Okay, I've
It's like
never heard that.
optimally when you eat, you're supposed to chew each bite 26 times.
Oh, okay. I thought he was doing that because it's like, I want the poison to kick in.
No, he was essentially being like, don't forget to dot your I's. It was one of those kind of things, like condescending parent to child advice.
All right. So then he inserts tape 4, which is the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, this opens with these two people, a guy, Ian, and a girl, Devon, who arrive at a house at night with a set of keys, and they're filming because this is a house they have apparently just purchased, and they're expecting movers to be there with their personal items the next day so that they can get the house set up in time for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was really confused because they walked through the house like they had never seen it before. I was under the impression that they had just bought this house, but then they're surprised by elements of the house. Like,
Yeah.
this room has wood in it. This is painted. Ooh, there's a fireplace. Like, did you not know this before you bought the house? It's very weird. So that was my first reaction when they were like, I actually had to rewind it to make sure this is a house they bought and not just something they were renting or maybe a house they inherited or something. But
So
yeah,
it's
it
it's
was weird.
not something they inherited, right? If they explicitly bought this house, apparently
I think
unseen.
they bought it. Yeah, they bought it unseen, I guess.
Yeah, that's weird.
Anyway, yeah, so they are videotaping a tour of their new house, which they've just seen for the first time.
Yeah, and I was actually reminded of when we expected you to be moving into a new house for Christmas, and that also didn't go well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, that gave me flashbacks for sure. Um, but I don't know how mad I would have been in this situation. I would have been frustrated, but he's on the phone and he's clearly irritating. He's irritated. But then they say the truck that was carrying all their stuff broke down and they can't find anybody to fix it. And so they're mad. But I'm like, okay, you've asked the moving company to have your items shipped from Colorado to California very close to Christmas, and the truck breaks down. So that company now needs to find a different company to fix the truck in time for Christmas for them to be able to drive your things. Like, it's just it's not going to work, and it's clearly not their fault. So the way they are so, like, irritated and just, like, kind of assholes about it, and she's like, "I am not sleeping on the floor. What are we gonna do?" Like, this is I feel like the running thread of these movies so far happen to be people who can't deal with, unexpected circumstances and are just generally unprepared for things,
Okay,
because I
but
feel like that's been happening.
but Ian had to call them and sat on hold for like 28 minutes, and they didn't communicate this at any point. They expected their stuff to be here, and he had to sit on hold and call them. So I feel like Ian's justified in being pissed there.
Well, I wasn't sure if they were waiting for their stuff to arrive at the same time as them or if it was coming the next day.
But if they're expecting it tomorrow and it's in Colorado, they should have got a call like days ago.
Yeah, that's true, but at this point,
And also, I would be like, forget, I don't care about you getting your truck fixed. Give it to another moving company. Like,
yeah, I guess that's
how is
true,
there
but then
only one moving truck that's available?
I mean, that's the idea of it's Christmas and it's hard to find people to do things for you. But, they also kind of made the choice to do all of this so close to Christmas, which was not what happened in my situation.
But you
Ours
don't
was
know what happened in their
ours was
situation.
settled well before Christmas.
Maybe there's was too.
Um,
Maybe there was some more bullshit that we haven't seen and they
all
were
right,
supposed to
all
move
right.
in a month ago.
Okay, all right. I'll believe it only because I lived through it.
All right, so Ian's gonna go get them an air mattress because Devin refuses to sleep on sleeping bags in the floor, and all they have in their car is Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
So
Which is
Devin's,
weird. I would think they'd have a backpack or something, but
yeah, I would think you just pack that up and bring essentials. Bad planning.
yeah. And
For
while he's gone, she decides to make the house more festive, and she puts up the tree and she puts up her ornaments.
Yeah, and then she
And
hears jingle bells on a creepy little music box coming from nowhere.
yeah.
So she follows it down
Um
the hall and finds a box full of old ornaments.
yeah. So not me. This isn't happening. Not the old ass decor and not a box of somebody else's ornaments that just happened to be still wound up
Yeah,
that we couldn't have heard 15 minutes ago. I just felt like that's when you take that box out to the front and dump it in the trash.
and she
And if you're feeling a little extra, you take it out to the lawn and you burn it. but you don't unpack it and put those things in your fucking home.
She's not questioning why this random Santa statue just started playing.
Yeah, no. Doesn't question it, just puts it up and it's like, ooh, ta-da! I did the decorating when you were gone. Isn't it so great?
Yeah. So he comes back with pizza and like the world's tallest air mattress.
Oh, yeah. That thing was like, I don't know how they're going to fit a sheet on it.
Like that thing's as tall as my entire bed. Like the mattresses
Well,
would probably be at the same level.
he calls it a luxury air mattress, so
Yeah.
maybe it's a super supposed to be guaranteed to be comfortable or something. Who knows?
Yeah, they said that before he left. They're like, go get one of those luxury air mattresses. And then he sets it up. It's like, damn, you were not kidding.
Yeah. And then here when they come back, I noted again, we're back to this like weird improv thing because some of these lines I felt were not delivered well. And I think this particular tape improved as it went on, but there were times at the beginning that felt again like we're getting back to this improv. They're not delivering their lines all that in a believable way. It just felt kind of, I'm still reminded that there's acting issues here.
Yeah.
But then they go to sleep.
But not before he lies and says the camera's off so he can record their sexy time.
Yeah, but he doesn't. And so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And then he wakes up and she's gone and he goes and finds her and she's plagiarizing the Blair Witch Project in the corner.
Yes. I was like, no, not standing in a corner in found footage. We've done this. I was so annoyed.
Not only have we done this is probably the most iconic shot in all of found footage horror. And you just stole it.
Just straight up ripped it off. I was just, I was done.
But it's different. She's ringing a bell. It's not the same. It's got that itty bitty ting. They vanilla iced it.
Yeah.
Literally, the itty bitty ting. It's the same.
That's funny. Yeah, then he's like calling her name and she's not turning around, but then he turns around and she's on the other side of him. I couldn't quite understand the mechanics of the scene.
So he is making no headway trying to get her attention while she stands in the corner, and then he hears the music and he just gives up. He's just like, okay, I'm gonna go explore that. Like, your wife's being creepy as fuck and you haven't even like tried to turn her around or like wake her up, or
and then
you just moved on.
Then he turns around. Yeah, and then he turns around when he's in front of the tree and she's standing right behind him, but she's like in a trance.
Yeah. And then they turn around and the candles, which I believe came from that shoebox she found, light themselves.
Yeah.
And they both freak out.
And she says, "No, that's weird," which I thought was such an awkward line. Like, I don't know. Okay, no, that's weird. Sure, weird stuff is weird, but this is kind of freaky and a little beyond weird.
Yeah.
So she doesn't want to leave the room for the rest of the night, and they lock themselves in. And then when the morning comes, they start talking about what to do going forward, and she wants to leave, and he's like, no, we have to stay. And I'm like, okay, red flag, but no, we can't leave, we have to stay. And so then she says, okay, well, we should at least call somebody to like come and cleanse the house or exorcise spirits or whatever. And he's like, that's bullshit. But eventually he gives in.
Yeah, so they call a guy to cleanse the house called Mitch. But instead of Mitch, Scary Perry shows up.
And it's like, and I love that he refers to himself as Paranormal Perry.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out and say Perry gets a what the fuck on both sides of his name, but I still consider him the best part of the movie. Of really? all the footage. Yes. I was like,
oh my God.
He's out of control.
He was too much for me, man.
He was out of control.
So this is when I see this being a horror comedy. Because it's impossible to take the rest of this movie seriously as long as Scary Perry's around.
Yeah.
He's just such a weirdo, and I sure I wrote down his lines, but I ran out of room.
So I actually looked him up because I kind of recognized him. Um, and that actor is named Dave Sheridan, and he was in, I want to say he was in the Scary Movies,
Oh,
which
yeah.
explains his demeanor completely, and it explains his like style of
Yeah.
delivering everything. But I thought that he was very consistent with delivering all his lines, and I am not a Scary Movie fan. Um, but I can see how his experience with Scary Movie and A Haunted House, and he's done a bunch of spoofs basically. And so I could see his experiences with those things coming into the way he portrayed this character. And that's kind of why I was like, I think he's the best character in the whole movie because he at least had a fully thought out character. And I think that's what I was craving this whole time.
Yeah. So he says he needs to record them. And so he does. And then he grills them about like what's been going on. And he sets up a ritual where they like make a circle. And then Ian doesn't give a shit, so he breaks the circle and shit starts going crazy.
Yeah. But before that happens, he talks to them about their experiences. And it is like pulling teeth because he
Yeah.
is just dragging everything out. He's milking all of his screen time, basically. Dragging out every line, every question, he's being weird, he's hugging her, he's hugging him, he's just doing weird shit. He's scratching his nuts, but then pulling actual nuts out of his pocket. It's just too much,
Oh,
right?
yeah. That
I
was way
still
too much.
I still was just like, I don't know what he's doing, but he's nuts. He's a lunatic. I love it.
The nuts joke was so scary movie.
The nuts joke was very scary movie. But what he does uncover is that she took all that shit out of the closet and put it around their house.
Yeah.
And
And
then
he's like,
Ian is like,
You didn't tell me about
you never
that?
told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, wait, did I do something wrong? Clearly, by both of their reactions, you did something wrong. By Ian's reaction, obviously, you found old shit in this house and you just put it up and didn't tell me. And Perry, who was like, wait, you found stuff that was already in this house and you just put it up and you touched it and you interacted with it. But the funny thing is that that's probably the point when I was like, maybe Perry is legit because he actually kind of makes sense.
You doubted Paranormal Perry?
He was just too wacky. But
So he,
yeah, so then it
so
all
he's
culminates in this seance.
Yeah, he's like, we need to exorcise these fucking things immediately. And he starts the ritual, but Ian breaks the circle, and then shit starts going crazy. And Devin gets like a plate in her mouth, like half decapitating her
In her
basically.
face.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then I think Perry gets
Perry.
he gets shot
Skewered by
full of
candy
candy
canes.
canes. Yeah. And
And we
then the
don't know what
statue
happens to Ian.
Yeah, the statue's eyes glow, and then Ian apparently dies off screen.
Right. So that tape ends.
And then Jeff breaks out the same Santa statue and puts it in front of the family. And they're like, those tapes aren't real. They're fake. And Jeff's like, no, they're very real. And then basically it just like the lights go out behind them and we don't see what this Santa statue does to them. The end.
Well, the eye starts to glow.
Yeah, the eyes start
The
to
eyes
glow,
start.
but we don't
Yeah,
get
the
to
eyes
see
start to
this
glow.
family killed like Ian and Devin.
Yeah. And for some reason,
They're
Jeff just puts it down and is like, peace.
so when travel buggies happened, I was like, oh, I bet these are all Jeff's tapes, and that scarecrow is Jeff in a costume. And this last one, obviously Jeff's involved. He got his hands on that statue. but the other two cannot possibly connect to him, right?
Agreed.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
I
It's like
I tried to find the connection between all these stories and I could not find one.
I feel like they would have had a stronger movie if they made these all connect to Jeff. Or just not
Yeah.
had that ending, because where the hell did Jeff get this fucking statue? Where did he get any of this?
Yeah, where do you get these tapes? Because he isn't the person filming. The person filming has established each one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's interesting. Also, Jeff is too dumb. Like he's not a good character. He's too dumb to have coordinated this. I refuse to believe that he's actually involved in all of these tapes. I think he just inherited them, and I think he inherited this the Santa statue. Ooh, maybe he found it all in a storage locker that had been abandoned, and he won it through some kind of auction. That would be cool.
Yeah. I just
There's
realized.
actually a podcast about that, though, so that's where I got that idea.
Oh, is that the archive one?
No, it's oh god, I forget what it's called. I haven't seen it in a while. I'll think of it soon.
But I'm just making the connection. Jeff's always like, he has this like love of cinema, which I think seems to be snuff films. But it reminds me of the way that Patrick Bateman loves music. Like he loves Huey Lewis in the News. He has that same kind of like psychopathic, like you need to appreciate this
I
attitude.
mean, he also has a Patrick Bateman look about him, comes
Yes.
in with the long
Yeah.
hair
And
and the
his whole
turtleneck and
demeanor.
his
Yeah.
whole demeanor. I think that was probably intentional, or he was probably trying to invoke that. Um, but here's what I did find online. It's from Bloody Flicks, which is a UK website. The Christmas Tapes Review. The Christmas Tapes is a hit or miss anthology where a family watches tapes. The first two stories are effective, but the last two are generic. And I fully disagree with that statement.
Yeah. The first one's like the most generic by a mile.
Agree.
Like you
Agree.
know exactly what's gonna happen the second they show that scarecrow.
Yeah. I was like, that was set up right away, and what else could have happened in that story? So I don't know.
I mean, the
Had
Christmas
some
Spirit is very generic paranormal activity type movie, but I think Scary Perry saves it by just being completely out of left field.
yeah. But this review also says that they think The Christmas Gift, which is the one about the father putting himself in a box, this review says that he's the best. This is the best one, which I disagree with. So
I really liked Santa though. I thought his actor did a great menacing psychopath Santa job.
I did like Santa. I think for me, the best of all of these was Untitled. And I think maybe The Christmas Spirit after that. But I don't know. I might actually put The Christmas Gift at the bottom, honestly, because the whole premise was stupid. But
Travel Buggies is easily last
Travel
place for me.
Buggies might be, yeah, I was going to say,
It
I don't
fucking
know. The first two
sucked.
are the most. You and Eli are on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I could rate these individual, but I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to give a rating to the whole movie, on its face. And for me, this is a 2-star.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this 2 Christmas tree topper stars that don't belong to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, this is sorry, I forget about our Christmas rating. This is not 2 stars. This is 2 I don't know, 2 dried up Christmas wreaths.
Pine needles everywhere.
Yeah, pine needles everywhere. No one's been watering them. Um, they probably were put together in a factory, not even handcrafted. Anyway, okay. So, I think that'll probably do it for the Christmas tapes. And what are we doing next week?
Next week we're doing Gremlins from 1980.
1984, and I have confirmed through several sources that the story I know about this movie contributing to the creation of a PG-13 rating is in fact true.
I
And
did look into that.
It has to do with both Steven Spielberg and Joe Dante getting shit about it. So, I'm excited to talk about it. And yeah, until next time.
Until next time.
This podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 International License. For additional information and other media content, visit theferalthread.com. Thanks for listening. Until next week.